Here with Matt Forger, recording engineer, legend recording engineer in his own right, but also known for having worked with another legend, Bruce Swedien. What was that relationship like?
Bruce was a remarkable person. I didn't fully come to appreciate and understand Bruce until I had worked with him for some amount of time. I didn't know his history. When he was young and was starting out, he built a recording studio in Minneapolis, and he was just a remarkable person because he had such dedication and devotion to the sonic environment and understanding what exists in the natural environment and how can that be captured in a recording, and then how can that be brought back through playback equipment. And when you read or study about Bruce and you see all the experiences that he had, it's just the most incredible life of he's done everything. From classical, Chicago Symphony, to bebop jazz, to gospel. And he said when he was, I think, 12 years old, his dad gave him a disc recorder of some kind. And he said after 10 minutes, he knew what he wanted to do with the rest of his life. And he just was remarkable in his knowledge and his expertise, and he knew how to create a sonic landscape that was just had such richness and depth and width and just the textures. He was the ideal pairing for Quincy Jones, because that's what Quincy was thinking in terms of musicality, textures and components, and Bruce, he was an engineering student in college with a minor in music, so he was getting both sides.
He knew music too. Yeah, it is a perfect pairing, and Quincy did come through film. I mean, I just remember asking Bruce, like, what's on all these sheets of paper? Like, he would have all across the console, and it looked like music paper, but it didn't have notes written on it, like music notes. Maybe occasionally it did, I wasn't really sure, but mostly it was like, but he looked at like mixing and he would write charts sometimes, right? This is what I remember talking to him, and he had some sort of like holder on, like, I don't know what it was made out of, plastic or plexiglass or something that was on the console. I've never seen an engineer like doing that, like creating his own scores.
He would call them his road maps. And what it was a sheet of scoring paper. And it was like a full-size sheet.
The score paper, yeah, with like writing, like it was like 6 lines or something.
Oh no, it was more than 6.
Was it a full-on orchestra?
Yeah, it was like full orchestration. It was at least 12. And what he would do is he would have the entire song bar by bar.
Yeah.
And what this allowed him to do was, here's the intro, here's the first verse, here's the first chorus, and he would write the counter number, because on the 3M 24 track, whoever designed that tape machine, the readout for the location was not minutes and seconds, it was decimal. It was minutes and tenths and hundredths of seconds.
That's the Model 79, right?
That was the M79. And so Bruce would write the location number for where every section of the song was. So when someone would say, well, take it from the bridge, or I want to go to the second, Bruce would know what number to punch in that would take him right there. Because it wasn't like you were going to 2 minutes and 36 seconds.
But you have to zero it when you put the tape on.
Which was always done at the exact place where the leader ended.
He would have to, or
the
numbers would be all wrong.
Right, yeah, but that's how we everything. You'd put it on, you'd load it, you'd zero it at the leader.
Quite a method. And in today's age of nonlinear, people would be starting to chop up the song and changing everything around, and then all of his charts would be out the window. All the locations would be meaningless. And
Yes, but because you're working on a DAW and you have the visual waveform in front of you.
You kind of have it.
Yeah, in those days, you had nothing in terms of the reference of where things were.
I guess he was just creating that. Like he was wanting a visual reference.
And then very often he would put on little notes. Sometimes he'd have the first couple words of the verse or the chorus. Or sometimes if there was a thing that happened, like, oh, this is where the hand claps come in, or this is where some arrangement note, so that he's aware, oh, this is happening. And occasionally there would be a musical note on there, but generally it was like sections and what events were occurring through the course of that chart.
That's so much like a film composer, because when I first started in film, we'd have to conduct to our scores, and we would have little cues. That would be the dialogue, for instance, or what was going on in the scene, and then we would conduct to streamers, make sure it all hits, and then get what needed to happen. And that's kind of exactly what he was. This is kind of interesting. Like, it's like a film thing, looking at a score and having little cue notes saying, here's this event's happening here at this. You know, we didn't even have SMPTE code. We had minutes and seconds, and he just uses the location code, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Arbitrary location.
Well, he also came from working, like I said, with Chicago Symphony for a number of years. And so he knew the importance of having a chart so that you could reference anything that you needed to know. And of course, in a pop song, you need much less information.
Well, they had rehearsal numbers like on orchestral pieces, like letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, L, all the way up to Z, I guess. So those would be like, oh, we're rehearsing this section. So I don't know what his classical charts probably looked a little different, because they might not have lyrics or something, but yeah, great.
But so, that was his stepping off point for him to create that thing that suited exactly what he needed and he wanted to have in front of him.
Yeah, and it exists without hearing the sound too. That's kind of interesting. It's like his visualization of music. I want to tell you about a few things that we have now. My course, Think Like a Synth, where you can learn the exact method that I've used on hit records and films for over 40 years. We have a Patreon where you can get exclusive videos that aren't available anywhere else, and you can be a part of our interactive live streams. Go to anthonymarinellimusic.com to get exclusive free content and find out more. And don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. So what else about Bruce? I mean, that's like his vast background, like in terms of engineering that he could pull from. I mean, you went through a lot of wars with him in terms of working with different artists. I don't mean like internally, but just like you went through a lot of stuff. You shared experience.
We went through a lot of stuff. There was a time in one portion when I know there was a definite sense of competition, because Bruce was the established guy. And there were times when Michael wanted to work with me, and he would choose me sometimes over Bruce. And I realized I'm a team player here. I'm not trying to compete with Bruce. I'm not trying to take Bruce's client, being Michael, or anyone else, away from him. I'm trying to supplement and make the team effort be a solid team. So it evolved over time. And again, I facilitated, because it got to the point where Bruce would be sitting working, and I could read and anticipate Bruce was going to say something to me, and he was going to say, I'm going to need such and such. I'm going to need something patched in. And usually I could be about 2 beats ahead of him, and I could say, okay, I got the cables right here. And I'd be able to, do that, because I could read the style of what it was, how he thought. Once again, it was kind of like, the team, when we were working as a team, we were all in sync so tightly. You want the betterment of the music in the product. It's like, it's not about your idea, my idea. It's like, how do we get the best? When Bruce understood, I was totally in his corner, and I was not trying to mess with him, or then things got really smooth. An interesting aspect of what Bruce had as an ability. He had this thing neurologically called synesthesia. And synesthesia is when the signals in the brain get crossed. And it's where you hear a sound, but your brain triggers a visual, usually a color. Both Bruce and Quincy shared synesthesia. Now, I don't, so I can only imagine how this works. This was something that I know Bruce and Quincy both used to their advantage because they had this extra sensory perception that they could see the spectrum. And later Bruce would describe that he could see the distribution of the frequencies and the sounds, in an oral, visual way as well as hearing them.
And that probably profoundly affected the way he not only heard, but the way he would mix, because he'd want to hear it that way.
Well, it enhanced his perception. So yes, it gave him that extra thing to make sure. That's why you can go to almost any recording of anything that he's done, and you hear an amazing consistency of how the balances and the mixes, relate.
So you hear that across all of his work, like a voice.
Well, I see it as a combination of a richness of the soundscape that he's created, but also, too, you're sensing it in an emotional way. Because I got to tell you, there's nothing like sitting in that control room and having Bruce pull up a mix, and it's coming out of those big monitors, speakers in the wall, and it's really loud, but it just engulfs you, and it's just like rich, and it's not like piercing or harsh, or it's like, no, it's just beautiful and warm and enveloping.
I remember it was really loud, but for me, it was it was really enveloping, but it was an age where the engineers were known for their sound. I don't know if it's as much true now, because you kind of adapt to the DAW and the artist and all these things. You get a little bit more generified now. I mean, you can fight it, but I mean, it's something to think about. It was an age where certain mixers, engineers were known, like an artist, like for their sound and what they could bring to it, and they were encouraged to bring that to the table. And so you experienced that.
Yeah, and Bruce did have that component. I wouldn't know how to describe it other than just to say it was this beautiful, big, lush thing that was just, I remember driving home on the freeway, and this was right after the Bad album was completed, and I was listening to the radio, and whatever was playing, and then the song Bad came on. And it was like, oh, you don't want to be the song before Bad comes on, or you don't want to be the song after, because the way that translated out of that car speaker was just like, oh my goodness. Now, that song had all those qualities that you desire in a song called Bad. It had that drive.
You don't want to be near it with your song.
No.
Yeah,
you're right. You don't want to be next to it. You don't want to be compared to it.
I get it. If you like this video, click right here. There's another video I know you're going to love. And if you want to go deeper into synthesizers, click right here and check out my course, Think Like a Synth. It's the exact method that I've used on hit records and films, and I know you can learn it too. Looking forward to seeing you on more videos.